The world is not a fair place. The whole system we live in is unfair. The political system is corrupt. The economic system adopts itself to the well-heeled. The resources are unequally distributed. The education system teaches us nothing about life, economy, or equality. Millions of hungry people in Africa and around the world, working around the clock for a few dollars a month, and all they did wrong was being born to the wrong parents, in the wrong country, compared to millions of rich children born with a golden spoon in mouths, enjoying life with little to no effort on their part. So why is the world unfair? And what can we do about it? John Rawls has an interesting answer to the second question. If we defined a good society simply, it will be a society that holds justice. What is social justice? Each person will provide a different definition that is closely related to who he or she is, what they are, and where they're coming from. We are victims of culture. We look at the world through our background and we have no other way to do it. If you ask your opinion on a particular issue or minority, your answer will depend on your background, where you grew up, what your skin tone is, without you even being aware of it. It is hard for us to break away from it. None of us are objective. None of us are fair, even though we all think we are. Pause the video at this point for a second and try to think of a social issue that interests you. Think for a moment about your opinion on this issue. Your opinion, in your mind, is objective and correct. You are sure you have taken into account the other side and the complexity of the whole situation. As much as you believe you are objective, you are not. Still not convinced yet. I am going to introduce you to John Rawls' theory of justice and let you think about it again. John Rawls, an American philosopher who dealt with the philosophy of morality, attempted to articulate justice as fairness, a theory that would serve as the basis for all democratic and liberal society. Just society, in his opinion, is a society that if you knew everything about it, you would be willing to enter it in a random place. This theory is Rawls' answer to the question, to which kind of society order will rational people, with lack of knowledge and uncertainty about their status in that society, will come to. In other words, he presents a hypothetical situation, which he calls the original position, where rational people exist when they are unaware of their situation in the real world. They are aware of the rules and situations of societies, and they can think rationally. These people exist in what Rawls calls the veil of ignorance. They have no idea who they are, where they are, whether they are rich or poor, white or black, man or woman. No one knows his place in society, his financial or social status. What will his share be after division of property, whether he lives in New York or India, and what family he will be born to, a life in the street under a bridge, or belonging to the Rockefeller family. No one is aware whether he's the president of a country or a street sweeper. Moreover, no one knows what portion of wellness he holds. Only, as we said, there are rational people who probably want to improve their situation. In this state of uncertainty, they have to dictate the rules, by which the society to which they return will be fair enough, so they hardly care what peace on earth it may. As stated, a good society is a society that you will be ready to go into at any situation or status. It is similar to a meeting, as our politicians do to dictate the rules. Only here it lacks personal interest and comes with the intention of helping society as a whole, with all its distribution and minorities. Out of such status only, out of the uncertainty and ignorance they experience, they will exercise for considerations for every detail of society, knowing that they themselves may be the ones in need. Only in this position will people be able to create a fair society, a one without personal interest and opinions. Rawls turned to the cognitive tool in an attempt to draw conclusions about human society. He recognized that such discussion was difficult and even impossible to implement in the real world, and therefore offered it as a cognitive tool. If you think about it, the distribution of resources in society, in a normal situation, if you are rich, you want to have more money. If you are poor, you are striving for equality. But if you are behind the veil of ignorance, you have to consider all aspects and consider every detail of every society. You do not want the rich who worked hard to lose their money because of so-called equality, and you don't want the poor to stay poor forever, not having a chance to move forward in life just because they were born poor. Rawls gives an example of a past social situation. If the delegates behind the veil of ignorance have to examine three choices dealing with white or black relations, the first option is that the blacks will be white slaves. The second option is that the whites will be slaves to the blacks. And the last option is a ban on slavery. Delegates who do not know if they will return to find out if they are black or white will choose to ban slavery. Let's go back to the question I asked you earlier. Your opinions of a situation or minority. Try to put yourself aside for a moment and get back in the scene of the veil of ignorance. You can wake up for real, either in this situation or as part of this minority. Now express your opinion again on the subject. Let me guess, you have changed your mind. If not, then congratulations. You are among the few in this world who are truly fair, or just can't imagine good enough. Anyway, the ideal is simple and logical. Behind the veil of ignorance, rational people will find the principle of real justice, which will benefit each member of society. I will not hold you tight, but briefly tell you which principle Rawls believed people would achieve out of this situation. These principles define the way liberal and democratic society should operate. One, which cares for all of its citizens. The first principle is the principle of liberty. Each person has an equal right to liberty, as long as it does not violate another's liberty. The second principle is divided into two parts. Part one is equal opportunity. Every individual in society will have an actual opportunity to evolve. Jobs and positions will be open to everybody, under the conditions of equal opportunities, regardless of the candidate's background. Part two, the difference principle. In situations where there are economic and social inequalities, and the process of decision-making, if necessary, must benefit society members whose situation is worse, meaning affirmative action. Let's take an example. If for a particular job 2 people applied, one is white and the other is black, the reference should be solely to the professional qualifications, regardless of religion, race, or gender differences. If both are equally talented, and here the difference principle is met, the choice should be the one who is in more need of the work. The one who is living in difficult conditions often would be the black person. This theory is a hypothetical situation that cannot exist in the real world. No one will ever be in a position to forget who they are and be expected to make decisions about social order. So how can it benefit us in daily life? First, it is a matter of minding our social and political order and distribution of resources. Secondly, regarding how we deal with people who are different from us, a fair world begins with the way we conduct, respect, and live with one another. Whenever you look or express an opinion on a particular topic, or talk to someone who is slightly different from you, try to step out of your comfort zone, no matter how hard it is, and enter the veil of ignorance. Try putting yourself in the other person's shoes, and think how you would like to be treated. Just step back and really think about the person in front of you, about their desires and motives. Let go of your conflicts and explanations for a moment. Listen better. Be empathetic. Try to understand for real what it's like to be them for a few seconds. Ultimately, you will see there is a solution for everything. The solution to any problem is when you try to step beyond your barriers, temporarily, and listen to the other person. Most important, do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell below so you never miss an episode. Leave us a comment on any topic that interests you, and I would love to explore it for you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned.